So before I carry on, I just want to try and add a few extra splatters to this part of my background. It just feels like it's not, it feels like there's a bit of a gap there. So I'm just going to wet my pencil, wet my mat, and then just pick up some of the ink and pick that up, get that wet. And then I just want to get some splatters that kind of makes sense going from the one page to the other. It just looks to me like it just ends. So no reason why we can't go through and just do a bit of editing. Right, and then I just think I need a few more splatters, normal splatters, bigger splatters like that. Just feel like that will finish it off just a little bit better. That to me looks a little bit better, and I'm just going to add a little bit of water. It just feels like my page doesn't flow properly at the top there. And then I'll take a paper towel, just give that a few minutes to do its thing. I'll pick up what's on my mat and then go through and pick up what's on the background. Okay, I think that looks like it. Can you see it sort of all flows a little bit better? Just going to pick up any wet bits that might be on the page. All right, I'm just going to take the heat gun and dry that, and then we'll be back to assemble the layout. I'll see you in a bit. I'm going to start to assemble the page on the left and then work over onto the right. So you're going to need your pieces of pattern that you have already cut out, and I'm going to work with some glue. So we know that this piece measures 28 centimeters. Let me just find where I put my ruler. Okay, so we know that pattern paper number 1 is 28 centimeters. So you can either eyeball it and center it yourself. You can do that, or you can measure. I want to put mine 1 centimeter from the top and leave more space, the 1.5 here at the bottom. Okay, but you don't have to. You can shift it around however you want it to be, whatever appeals to you. If you want more of a gap on the top, then shift it down to the bottom. So I've measured my 1 centimeter from the top. I'm going to add some glue to my pattern and attach this flush against the center of my page, 1 centimeter from the top. Okay, I have inked around the edges of my pattern papers with the Scorched Timber Distress Oxide ink, but I did not ink down the middle, so that when I put my 2 pages together, they flow. Right, so I just want to measure and make sure that that's 1 centimeter from the top and 1 centimeter from the top. Looks pretty straight. And then I want to make sure that I've got it flush against the center, that there's no overhang. There we go. And we can then just burnish that in place. Your pattern paper number 2, which is the piece that measures 10 centimeters by 30.5. Is it 10 or is it 10 centimeters? Yep. This one you're going to attach flush to the bottom and flush against pattern paper number 1. All right. I'm going to work this way, so I'm going to attach this one flush against the bottom of the page, flush against pattern paper number 1 like that, and it should go flush against the top of the page. Right, then just holding that in place, you can burnish that. Because this is not a center pattern, I have inked around the edges, both the top and bottom, and the left and the right. Right, so this piece here measures 25.5. I'm going to attach it 2.5 centimeters from the top of the page. attach that there, and 4.5 centimeters from the left of the page. So it's going to go there and there. Just going to make another little space. Right. So I want it to go in over there, 4.5, so that it overlaps this paper slightly. Right. Add some glue and stick it in place. Oops. Right. So there's my 2.5 centimeters from the top. There's my 4.5 centimeter mark over there. And there's another one there. And there's another one there. So that'll help me just to get it in straight. I'll double check all the way along the side. It needs to come in just a little bit. And there we go. So that's all in nice and straight. Right, so we're going to attach the pieces that need to go on the right. Keep the left side close by. So remember, I want to attach pattern paper number 1 centimeter from the top of the page. Right. Add some glue. And again, this one needs to be attached flush against the center of your page, 1 centimeter from the top. So I have my marks. 1 centimeter from the top, flush against the center of the page. I'm just going to tuck it in place like that. I want to line it up with my left side and make sure that I've got it straight. So I always line up at the bottom. Line my pages up at the bottom. And I can see I need to shift that over just a little bit there, so that it's right against the center of the page, like that. But it looks to me that it's lined up properly at the top and the bottom, so we can then burnish that in place. Right, then we're going to add pattern paper number 2. And we're going to attach that 6 centimeters from the right of the page, flush against the top, flush against the bottom. It's going to go in 6 centimeters from the right of the page. There we go. I'm not going to put, this has got to go in like that. I know I want to tuck something in, so I'm not going to put some glue over here. I'm just going to, I got it the wrong way around. So when I turn this over, I'm just going to avoid putting some glue on this part, because I know I want to tuck some goodies in there, and I just want a tuck spot for that. Alright. So this is going to go, where did it go? 6 centimeters from the right of the page. There's my mark. Flush against the bottom, flush against the top. And before we burnish that in place, I'm just going to take my ruler and double check that I've got it straight. There's the 6, need to move it over a bit. There we go. Check at the bottom. Perfect. So you're just going to hold it in place and then just burnish. Okay, then we're going to attach pattern paper number 3, 2.5 centimeters from the top, 1.5 centimeters from the right. I'm going to attach that 1.5 centimeters from the right of the page, and 2.5 centimeters from the top. And again, 1.5 from the right. There we go. Just add some glue. So remember, we're needing to put something, we're going to tuck something in here. So I'm just going to put the glue in a little bit so that I can tuck things in as I need to. So the glue is more down the middle, and I've left the sides open to be able to tuck goodies under. So here we go, 2.5 centimeters from the top, 1.5 centimeters from the right. Just going to go in and double check that. I think I've got it skewed here at the top. Just slide it into place. That looks right. 2.5 from the top. Right. So before I burnish that in place, I'm just going to double check with my page on the left, and that looks like it's lining up correctly. I even check it this way. That looks about right. Okay, and then we're just going to burnish that in place. So far so good. So that's going to go in like that. Next we need to add the photographs. So you can choose if you want your photographs more to the top, center, or slightly to the bottom. I think I'm going to have mine come down slightly to the bottom, like that, because I have these photographs on the left that I can use to carry the weight up a bit. Right, so that looks like it's in the right spot for me. So these I'm going to attach 6.5 centimeters from the bottom, and this one we can look at, these we can do 3. Right, so let's get the photographs on. Just bear in mind with these two, we want to tuck some things at the top, so when we put the glue in, first let's measure the 6.5 centimeters, or 6, which was it? I can't remember now, and I just said it a few minutes ago. Let's work on 6 centimeters from the bottom. Okay, so because I know I want to tuck things in, I'm not going to put any glue right at the top of my photograph, my photo mat. I'm just going to put glue like that. Right, and I'm going to attach it 6 centimeters from the bottom of the page. And that looks about right. 6 or 6.5, whichever takes your fancy. It's not going to make too much of a difference, that 0.5 centimeter. Right, so then we want to add the other one, and again, I'm not sure how much stuff I'm going to tuck behind, so we'll just leave an allowance for just in case. Right. And there's my 6 centimeter mark. So I've attached about 1 mil away from the center and about 1 mil away from that other photograph, and that's going to go over there more or less. And before I burnish everything in place, we just want to double check that my spacing is correct so that I have it in straight. There we go, 6, and come down a little bit. Looks a bit better. And there we go. Just want to push that up and get it in straight. Okay. Burnish that in place. And then we're going to attach the photographs on the other side. So I do remember clearly this one is 3 centimeters from the bottom. Once we've got this one in, to get the others in will be easy enough. We're just going to space it about 1 mil between the photo mats. So we'll pop some glue, and I know I don't need to tuck anything behind this first one. I won't be tucking anything either on the left or on the right. So there's my 3 centimeter mark, about 1 mil away from the edge. Just give that a bit of a, like that, looks good. Hold that in place. Right, so we're going to add the next one. It's going to go over here like that, and then the last one will go in on top like that. Okay, so we can just get these stuck down. There we go. Oh, our load shedding is over. You heard the deed. That's letting me know the power is back. And there we go. Just burnish that in place. So I'll give you an overview of what it looks like with the photo mats in place, and before we start to embellish. Right, so there we go. So that's everything stuck in place. We have space for the photographs. I'm going to put these over here like that. Right, so that's where my pictures are going to go. Right, so I'm going to put on some music and start to add my embellishments. I will also be drawing some gel lines around all my pattern papers just to make them stand out a little bit more. I think I'm also going to go around the edges of my pattern paper, the full perimeter of the paper, with some ground espresso distress oxide ink. I think I'm going to ink those edges just to make this background stand out just a little bit more. All right, so I will put on some music and see you in a bit. And there you go. That's everything in place. A few little mistakes were made, but I seem to have managed to get it to work. The one thing, the piece of that long piece of sand that the little dude's standing on, I couldn't get it covered up properly with the collection, with my little plaster. So because I hadn't put any glue behind it, I just cut it off. I edited it a little bit so that it wasn't sticking out underneath here. I also added a little staple here and here on my, just the little tiny attacher. And then the other thing is that I swapped this pattern and this pattern around. When I was the bigger piece is supposed to be here and the smaller piece on this side, but I think that it's worked out quite well. It doesn't look like it's unbalanced. I think because this is quite a broad piece and this is the narrow piece, I think it does balance. So that was a happy accident. Right, so other than that, I'm quite happy with the way everything's turned out. I've got some buttons over here, and over here. I haven't brought any down here. I think that it works the way it is. You could, if you didn't want to put buttons here, you could bring them down to the bottom here, but I think the way they are works perfectly for me. But like I say, this is, at the end of the day, this is just an inspiration for you to work from. You can chop and change and add things and take away things that make you happy. Right, I hope that you've enjoyed the process, and I look forward to seeing you in project number 3. Thank you for watching.